Hey everybody, Cindy Daychuk with Queen Bee Creations. Just finishing off another quick little Christmas craft, and it's making these little decorative Christmas balls. So what's nice about them is that they've got some texture, they've got some 3D happening, and that they're super easy. So kind of a fun thing to maybe get the kids to be able to help you out with. I have a mold from IOD, and as always, you can get the supplies that I'm using on the website, queenbeecreationshome.com. And we're just using, this one happens to be the Acanthus scroll. You can use any. So this one has some little scroll work. One of them has a little angel on it. Another one has clocks and timepieces. Any fabulous little molds that you have are gonna work. And of course, the air dry clay. So comes in a big block like this. Keep it in a baggie to keep it nice and soft and malleable. And really all that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be pushing our clay into our molds. And IOD has fabulous molds with this little micro rim that let you kind of push against that rim and kind of almost trim off the excess. But the first step in this process is really to be able to get your molds, and we're going to then stick them, glue them onto our ball. And for this you can just use really inexpensive dollar store Christmas balls. This one is a plastic one. There's no need to use glass ones. So again, if you're working with little ones and you want to keep it a little bit kid friendly or a little bit safer, just get plastic balls. And this is just like doing a little Play-Doh activity, right? That they can push these into the molds. If you find that I'm using really tiny sections of this particular mold. If you're using a really big or detailed one, brush a little bit of cornstarch into it first. It helps to unmold it, but then you just kind of flip it over and peel it back, and your little decorative pieces just kind of pop right out. So the nice thing about them is that they're beautifully detailed. They dry wonderfully once they're onto your piece, and I like to apply them wet. You can let them dry flat, but obviously I'm going to be applying them to a curved surface. So if I had them flat, then they're going to sit awkwardly. So I want to apply these while they're still damp, and here I'm just using a wood glue. This happens to be just like a LePage's kind of a quick dry wood glue, and I just usually take a little Sursive. This happens to be a coffee stick from stirring up my coffee, but I just kind of smoosh it around so that all of the surface is covered, and then just simply decide where you want to put it and curve it around your ball. All that we're going to do is we're going to glue any of those decorative pieces around the ball, prop it up, let it dry. I usually just hang it, much the same as I've got these hanging as they were drying yesterday. But that first step, we're just going to apply all of our molds, let them dry overnight, and then I'll come back at you for the next step, which is painting. Well, as luck would have it, the video of me painting the Christmas ornaments went astray. These things happen, but there's no magic to this. Once your molds have dried on your Christmas ornaments, so just leave them overnight, they're ready the next day, you can just paint them. I used DIY in Old 57 for the light turquoise color that I used on my Christmas balls, but you could use any paint of your choosing. So don't agonize over this, and certainly just use what you have on hand. Any paint is going to work. I like the clay-based paint because it's nice and thick, and I really only have to do one coat. I'm a little lazy. when it comes to crafting. So I want to be able to do something that is kind of done and quick. And so this paint is awesome for doing that. But if you've got acrylics on hand or you've got some craft paint for the kids, just use that. Paint the ornament. You're probably going to find to hang them up to dry. Once they're dry, we're ready to go for the next step. The next step, our paint has dried. We have this lovely turquoise, old 57 turquoise. And next step, we're going to apply white wax. So I just take a chippy brush and I just want to make sure that it's getting into all of the grooves. We're going to be wiping it back, but what we want is we want it to be sitting down into the grooves of the mold, and it's really to highlight those details. So just kind of cover it over, swirl it around so you can see that there's nothing, no part of this that, I mean, you can't do, but certainly that your kids couldn't do. That if you wanted to get their help and they wanted to be able to decorate a bunch of Christmas balls for the Christmas tree, or to be able to do some Christmas balls just to be able to give as a special gift, whether to their teacher, to a grandparent, to friends, to neighbors. It's always nice to get a hand-done gift. Once you've got that done, you're just gonna take a lint-free rag. You could use a paper towel if you needed to, and you're gonna wipe this back. What I wanna do is I wanna wipe back mostly on the flat parts and kind of the highs of the ornament. I want to have that white wax sitting down in the crevices. Now, you can, here's where you can get creative. I'm doing this light turquoise, and so the white wax works great with it and for the look that I'm after. But maybe I've done them white, I've painted them white, and I want to do a dark wax, or I've done them white and I want to do a turquoise wax, or any combination that you can imagine. You can do a soft pink, and you can do the white wax. Maybe you want to do a little bit of aging, so you're going to take the dark wax just into some of the lows. It's really up to you in terms of the contrast that you want to get. But you can see where that just sits down in those crevices, and it kind of just highlights really nicely all those lows. The final step that I did was I added, you could stop right here. So this is the one that I just did, but this one you can see that I've got the white and just a tinge of gold. So what I've taken is a little bit of gilding wax. This happens to be Annie Sloan, but you can get Rub and Buff from your local hardware store. You could use a little bit of Golden Ticket from DIY. I just happen to have this and it self-seals. And I just take a little dab of it onto the end of my finger, and I'm just going to hit some of the highs. So I'm just going to rub it just really lightly across the top of the ornament, just to highlight the top. Just kind of, gives a little bit of that Christmas bling. But it just adds another dimension. We've got the turquoise color that's sitting in all of the open areas. We've got the white that's sitting down in the crevices, and now we've got a little bit of the gold that's just kind of drifting across. So we're not doing it too heavy, but just drifting across some of the highs. So it lends itself to a little bit more interest. Now, gilding wax comes obviously in different metallic colors, so easily a copper or a silver. So if you had a black ball with white wax, you might want to use a silver. Gold would also work to kind of complement. But there are gilding waxes from different lines that come in bright pinks and purples and blues. So again, depending upon what your interest is, depending upon your budget, and depending upon really what look you're after, especially if you're going for kind of a colored theme to your Christmas or your decorations, then you might want to tie them all together with the paint and the gilding wax to bring out different highlights and different colors. So if you had done these pale pink, getting maybe a A nice metallic purple gilding wax would be beautiful over top of that. Again, really up to you and what look you're after.